Hi, thanks for coming back for another episode of the Your Gray Matters podcast. I'm Jason, and we're going to try something new and exciting. Instead of our usual weekly format, we're going to be releasing shorter, more focused segments throughout the week. We think this will give you a chance to really digest the amazing innovations we discover, and we'd love your feedback on this new format. Today, we're kicking off a fascinating 4-part series about a revolutionary cleanup technology that's changing the game in environmental protection. When I first heard about this product, I couldn't believe it. We're talking about something that can clean up virtually any spill, whether it's oil, chemicals, or contaminated water, and it does it in a way that's completely sustainable. In this first segment, you'll meet Larry Kennelly and Lenny Kerman, two brilliant businessmen who stumbled upon this technology and recognized its potential to transform how we handle environmental cleanup. They're not your typical green tech entrepreneurs, but their story shows how innovation can come from unexpected places. Let's dive in.
Hi, everybody. I'm Neil from the Your Gray Matters podcast, and we are glad to have you back. Thank you for following us. And if you have been following us, you know that we look at products and people who make a difference in our life. So many great things in this world, but you may not be aware of them, and we try to bring them to you. And today's podcast, we're going to take on green technology. I don't want to be political here, but if you're paying attention, there's an argument going on in this country. Are we best off with climate change with a carbon tax? Or are we good with green technology? Or both? A number of years ago, I discovered a technology that I love. I've always wanted to have them on the show. They're from a great company called JPO Products Canada. Two brilliant gentlemen, business owners, and I'm glad to have you guys on the show today. Larry Kennelly, Lenny Kerman, thanks very much for coming on the show.
Thanks, Neil. Really appreciate you having us.
Thank you, as do I.
Yeah, well, we are excited to have you. Everybody, I'm just going to tell you a bit about these two gentlemen because oddly enough, they don't necessarily come from the green climate protection products technology, but they're brilliant business people with a long history of success. Lenny Kerman, he's a veteran of the financial services sector. He's raised hundreds of millions of dollars for real estate-based projects all over North America. And he's an advisor, and he works with both private and public companies. And he's founded multiple companies, and one of them is JPO Products Canada, along with his partner, Larry Kennelly. Larry is a seasoned business leader. His career centers on mastering what he calls the nuances of business and human relations. He's got a track record of building some of the most successful sales teams, collectively responsible for over $1 billion in sales. He leverages his expertise to solve complex business challenges by cultivating strong, dynamic, and diverse teams. At his core, and actually at Lenny's too, they're both builders. And you know what? Today, they're focused on helping companies tackle a really complex problem. And that's why we're here today. Spills, cleanups. It's one of the most dangerous things that can happen on our planet. Hydrocarbon spills, chemical spills, not only on land, but on water. And these two cats have got products that fix the problem. Guys, welcome again to the Your Gray Matters podcast. We're really glad to have you on here.
Thanks again. You. Appreciate it.
You got it. So guys, let's jump. Thank you. And we're glad to have you here for sure. Guys, not everybody's going to understand maybe what the problem is. Let's talk about some of the challenges that your product line can fix. What are we talking about? What's going on out there? And in my research, I found out your products are covering problems not only on land, but on water. So I'll let you guys fight out who wants to talk about the problems.
Wow. The problems. Well, there's a variety of different problems that are out there. And it's funny, you start off with the problems but I'd love to, digress for a second and give some background to, how Larry and I even came to thinking about the problems.
Sure.
Larry and I were walking down by a pier in Burlington about 6 months ago, talking about various industries. And being financial professionals like we are, we always considered the industries that we focus most of our attention on our financial industry work. But we had also been going to a number of heavy equipment shows, working within sectors that had more of a hard asset base to them. And the conversation turned to us talking about how wouldn't it be interesting, instead of focusing our attention always on these financial sector investments, focusing on some of the problems and solutions as a result in that hard asset sector. And that's where that whole concept started to really formulate surrounding JPO Products Canada. We started to recognize that there was always these areas of need and sectors like hard asset sectors that required interesting services. And one of the conversations we started to have was with a professional out in Alberta who was working with me on other projects, and he was a major consultant on a number of drill rigs in Alberta. And he started to talk about this need for drill cuttings to be solidified. I didn't know what that was at that point, and I started to understand that as each drill goes into the ground, it needs to, of course, be lubricated. It needs to, of course, make sure that it doesn't spill. It needs to make sure that the hydrocarbons or the oils that it creates are effectively managed, and that there are a number of products out there that service that type of sector. Well, that's really interesting. And then, of course, there's the oil service sector. Tons of oil and lube shops all over the place. They need a product, of course, all the time. And what they typically use is this kitty litter type of clay. And they all hate it. And so when Larry and I stepped into the business, we didn't just walk in and say, hey, this is what we want to do. It was we recognized an opportunity. We spent a lot of time researching all the different sectors that this type of product touches. And then we really started to service that sector. And of course, that's why we're here today, is that we're really enjoying what we're doing. So it touches so many different things. And I think that we have an interesting success story that one would never have thought of, that Larry can probably talk about more effectively than I can.
Thank you, Len. That I would just add to that by going back to your original point, Neil, which is that there is a very large conversation happening around the sustainability of the planet. And it doesn't really matter where you fall on that subject. I think generally speaking, we can all agree that we're better off if we can leave the world at least as good as we found it, if we're going to have to use these hydrocarbons. And in days gone by, and we've seen the movies, and we've also seen the historical footage of what drilling used to look like, and wildcatting and all that sort of thing. And it was, pardon me, a rush to take the stuff out of the ground as quickly and cheaply as possible and to sell it for as much as possible.
Right.
Now that's just primary business opportunity. We understand that. Today, governments, no matter where they are in the world, are all saying we respect and understand that we need these products, these hydrocarbon-based products, the oils and gases and lubricants and all those things. Can you at least do what you can to leave the earth as you found it before you took them out? And I think by and large, the oil companies and those primary producers have said, I think we can. And so you see situations in the production level of the oil and gas business where they're using sawdust, for example, to clean up the oil that's around the edges of the holes that they're drilling. And what happens is that the sawdust works effectively, and it's got a lot of pros going for it. It's a byproduct from the forestry business, which is now a sustainable business in Canada as well. It's close. It doesn't require a lot of transportation, but it requires a lot of volume. You need to use an awful lot of that material to get the result that you want. Even having said that, what we've seen is that the cleanup process requires a cleanup process afterward, and there's issues around disposal, and there's issues around where you're going to put this product. So as we started working on this project, we realized that we can do well and do good at the same time. because we both, Len loves the experience of talking to people about the product and really getting them to see the light come on, and I love the problem solving piece of it as well.
That's it for the first segment of this special series. Thanks for watching. We'll be back on Thursday with part 2, where we'll dive deep into the science behind this incredible technology. Until then, please remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment, and tell a friend. See you Thursday.